OA from Riyadh, KSA. Assalamu alaikum, Mufti. As a layman, is it okay to take the good and leave the bad of speakers who openly call to the beliefs of Wahdatul Wujud or Tawassul, Istighatha, etc.?
طيب بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين أما بعد. Question says, is it okay as a layman to take from someone who outwardly calls to things that are clearly wrong and that are clear misguidance, whether it is saying that Allah is in unison with all of his created beings, everything that exists is Allah and everything, or Allah is everything that exists, waliyadu billah. Or he says, al-istighatha, O Messenger, O Muhammad, O Prophet, help us, support us, give us victory over the enemies, etc. etc. Is that permissible for a layman to take from someone like this and to take the good and to leave off the bad? Very important question. The question comes from Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. And we're not really on a really strict time limit right now. So let's try to give a few basic principles. The first basic principle is there is a huge difference between someone being your personal sheikh, your personal muallim, your ustad, your teacher, your sensei, whatever word or term you use, and you just hearing something from someone. You came across something from someone. Or there's a book that's very beneficial. Or it's the best book available. Or the only book that's available on the topic or in English. And this person has these major issues or minor issues. There's a huge difference between the two. And many people, unfortunately, like other issues, they abuse it. And they mix oranges and apples. It's not the same. This is a person I look up to, I sit with, I learn from. This is a person that I'm with. I go to his classes, I went to his house, he came over to my house, we had tea and biscuits. I asked him to make dua for my son. I've studied under him books. He's my sheikh, my teacher, my ustad. That's not the same as I heard a statement from someone and it's a true statement. Or someone wrote a book and it's, like I said, the only book available on the topic in English. Or the best book available on the topic language, and it's a good book. And the scholars, the tulab al-ilm, the people of expertise in English, they said it's a sound book, and his issues aren't in this book. Or his issues are in page such and such and such and such. So the first principle, and as our scholars would always tell us in Medina, you have to stick to principles, to usul, to qawaid, and to dawabit. You need guidelines, principles. There's strategy and then there are tactics. You have to have both to be a strong student of knowledge and to be a layman Muslim, because we believe that layman Muslims should know certain principles as well. And we believe that layman Muslims should have certain things under their belt as well, even though they're laymen, to protect themselves from being victimized. Just like self-defense, to learn how to fight. I'm not an expert boxer. I'm not an amateur boxer. I'm not a prize fighter. I have no aspirations. I'm not that talented to be on TV boxing. But as a normal 9-to-5 going to work guy, if someone runs up on me, I can pick up my fists and defend myself. I can make it out of a fight in one piece. With minimum scratches, minimum lumps, let alone I may what, Sadiq? Knock out the average person. Because some basic things that I've learned about boxing. How to slip a punch, how to duck, how to tuck your chin, how to ball up your fists and punch with the proper knuckles. Basic self-defense. Or any other system of self-defense that you have. Taekwondo, judo, whatever you want to call it. Whatever your culture is. Everyone understand this? Ancient Japan, ancient Korea, or Jamaica Queens. Whatever your system of self-defense is. And I'm not a fighter. I'm not an expert fighter. I'm not a prize fighter. But I know the basic principles that if someone runs up on me, pushes me in a corner, tries to oppress me and my family, I can at least defend myself and minimize the damage of the attack. Let alone I may myself what? Knock out the guy and minimize any or diffuse any damage. No, he didn't scratch me, alhamdulillah, he didn't take my money. But I'm not just gonna get pulverized and ran over, steamrolled by this attacker who just wants to take my money or do something to my daughter or to my sister or my mother. But I have some type of self-defense with me. Everyone understand this? That is the comparison of ilm. The layman is not supposed to be a sheep or a goat that's pulled and dragged into the direction of any shepherd that comes along. He's a sheikh, he's a scholar, he has a red and white scarf or a white scarf or a black scarf, he has a beard, follow him. And listen to everything that he says and take everything that he gives you. La. This is a graduate. This is this brother. This so take from him. No. I'm a layman, but I've been taught basic things. Something is not right about this person. I don't care what you say about him. I don't care what you say. I don't care what sheikh gave him tazkiyah. Something is not right about this person because of what I've learned. Something is not right. This person has no credentials. He never studied anywhere. How can he talk about this type of issue? And then why is he talking about these brothers and this one and that one? Something is what? Wrong. And I'm not a what? I'm not a scholar. Nor am I a student of knowledge. I go to work for 10 hours out of the day, 12 hours out of the day, but I know basic principles. So this is one of those basic principles, is that there's a difference between taking from someone and between studying with someone. Everyone understand this or not? The next basic principle is that there's a difference between someone who has a mistake, and it's a presupposed mistake, and something that's actually factually proven to be a khata. And there's a difference between a slip of the tongue and between a khata ilmi, a scientific error, in which a person said something based on what they actually believe, they're convinced in it. There's a mistake, or there's a difference between something that's agreed upon and something which the ulama differ. It's a principle. There's a principle based off of someone who said a mistake or wrote a mistake, and the mistake was found through fishing, tasayyud al-akhta. We looked through his books. 10 brothers in one room at nighttime, and all of them are transcribing the lectures at night to make sure that they have some type of mistake for the refutation in the morning. Wallahi, we've seen this. That's not the same as a person who gave a lecture in front of a lot of people and it became widespread, a widespread fatwa, and it was public. It was a what? A public fatwa that reached many, many, many people. That's not the same as me searching for my what? Brother's mistake. I want to find where you made a mistake at. Somewhere, somehow, got him. And then I take a piece there, and then another book, and another lecture, and a 2-minute clip, and a 20-second clip, and a 30-second clip, and another vague statement, and an inexplicit statement, and then at the end of the day, مُذَكِّرَةَ أَخْطَاء Sheikh Fulan. This is the proof that we made him a mubtadi'. This is the proof that he's a mubtadi'. And that you have to call him a mubtadi', and everyone has to call him a mubtadi'. And this is the dalil. This messy, reckless collage of statements. This, I'll humbly say, in my opinion, is what has happened to 9 out of 10 people that were refuted. 9 out of 10. Scholars or students, 9 out of 10. And the people they say, Sheikh Fulan refutes Ahlul Bid'ah. Sheikh Fulan's Mujahid, he refutes Ahlul Bid'ah. La. Don't you understand, yeah, Anta, yeah, Miskeen? Is that once I speak about you and pick out these mistakes and put them together, supposed mistakes, in which I could be wrong, now my followers are now going to call you what? Ahlul Bid'ah. And they're going to say he spoke about what? Ahlul Bid'ah. But in actuality, I spoke about what? Ahlul Sunnah. And then by me attacking him, he now became what? Ahlul Bid'ah. And then a second, and a third, and a fourth, and a fifth. So in actuality, yeah, Anta, you've not refuted Ahlul Bid'ah. You've spoken, defamed, slandered, found these things, these messy pieces of Ahlul Sunnah, and then they automatically became unorthodox, off the market, now they're mubtadi'. Everyone understand this? And this is what has happened for the last 25 years. In the United States, in Saudi Arabia, in Yemen, and other countries. Everyone understand this or not? That's not the same as someone who says a statement of clear kufr, in which there's no interpretation. That's not the same as someone in a 500-page book on this page and something that's been given out and handed out for the layman people to suck up and eat. It's not the same. Everyone understand this? Also, it's not the same as something that can be interpreted and something which has no interpretation. And also, it's not the same as someone who's from the people of the Sunnah. Everybody in this room, in this city, in this state, in this country, we all know Brother Abu Amin. I known him for years. I knew him when he was a kafir, when he accepted Islam, when he went to Medina, when he graduated from the language program, when he went to the college, when he graduated from the college, when he did this degree. I know him. I know his background. My kids used to play with your kids. I know you, you know me. And then you made a mistake. and you said something that's wrong. That's not the same as someone who's automatically a person of bid'ah from the what? From the get-go, from the asl. It's not the same. And the list goes on and on and on of these principles that are mentioned in the speech of the people of knowledge. And these principles which can be obtained for those who really want to obtain them by using common sense and just looking at how history repeats itself over and over again. In Sahih Ta'bir. Everyone understand this or not? So it's not the same. So therefore, from one aspect, the layman is not allowed to take the good and the bad from somebody like this. Wahdatul wujud or this statement of kufr. La, abadan. And from another aspect, we say if the truth is brought by someone, or there's something which is clearly, tangibly beneficial, you take the truth from wherever you find it. But it doesn't mean you go and look for that truth. You don't search for good fish. You don't fish good fish in a muddy pond. It's a huge difference. Everybody understand this? You don't go to the place where the sign says, don't fish here. It's toxic fish. It's this type of fish. Iodine is in the fish. You don't go and look for a good fish. Even though you could what? Find a good fish. But that's not what you do. But that's not the same as an expert fisherman who knows the different types of, this fish carries this disease, this one doesn't. Everyone understand this? It has this color stripes, has that color stripes. You can eat that one, don't eat that one. That's not the same. The layman is not like a student. But that is not the same as the fish being brought to you and it's a good piece of fish. You don't say, oh, I'm not going to eat this because it came from a bad river. That's not Islam, nor is that common sense. But it doesn't mean that the layman is going to go to the bad pond or river and look for a what? A good fish. Everyone understand these principles? It's very important stuff. And 9 out of 10 people who supposedly refute people and talk about people and this and that, they mix and they jumble these principles together. Most of them don't even know about them. And if they know about them, they hide them from the people because of monetary exploit, monetary gain. They want to be in charge of the people and control of the people. And will have dumb, stupid, mindless followers behind them. They will give them money, houses, cars, young virgin women to marry, and fill their egos while the other billah. This is the reality. If most other people are scared to say it, I'm not scared to say it. That's the bottom line. Everyone understand this? People that are evil, that hold the truth from their followers, while the other billah. And then there are others who are ignorant and don't even realize that they're being manipulated and used and they're pawns on a chessboard. And the proof that they're pawns on a chessboard is at the moment they differ or they're no longer any value, they then what? They're plucked off the board and now he's a what? Mubtadi'. Just yesterday, he was the allama. Just yesterday, he was the imam. Just yesterday, he was the strongest brother in the West. Now he's a what? Get out of here. You're no longer good. Don't take this from me. Open up your eyes and your ears. The truth is found for those who look for it. So there's a difference. There's a what? There's a difference. How you feed a baby is not like how you feed a toddler. How you feed a toddler is not like how you feed a 6 or 7 or 8-year-old. A 12-year-old is not like how a 6-year-old eats. This person can eat the fish, take out the bones, get rid of the scales, the eyeballs, the tail, etc. A baby eats what? Mushy food. Everything in the plate or the bowl has to be what? Soft, sweet, and edible and mushy for the baby because the baby doesn't have any teeth yet. The baby doesn't know a bone from this. Everyone understand this or not? So we live in a time in which people, they want to say that you can only serve food in one way. Only one dish to everybody. A grown man is supposed to eat like a little baby. A student of knowledge, a talib ilm, is supposed to behave like an ammi, a layman. Don't sit with him. Don't read his book. Don't go there because he has a mistake. Or Sheikh Fulan says he has a problem. Or he has an issue with these brothers. Or so on and so forth. That's the approach towards a layman. Or a student of knowledge who is developed and mature. He's been studying for some years now. They treat him like what? A beginner. And they say, oh, brother Fulan, he's not Salafi because we didn't see him in the classes of Sheikh Fulan. We never saw him in Sheikh Fulan's house. This is the dalil. And wallahi, I'm not making this up. I name names if you want me to. They said, brother Fulan is not Salafi because we didn't see him in Sheikh Fulan's house ever. And I was in Medina for 5 years. I never saw him in Sheikh's house. Tell you. First and foremost, look how sick and how perverted this mindset is. If you don't sit with a specific scholar, you're going to the fire of hell. What type of Islam is this? If you don't sit with this scholar, you're automatically a deviant, and deviant is going to, based off of what you believe and understand. Number 2, I've been in Medina for 10 years. You've been in Medina for 3 years. Is it not possible that I sat with Sheikh Fulan for 7 years while you still were in the UK? Is that not possible or not? Possible or not? Mumkin? Is it not possible I studied books with this sheikh and you still were a kafir? You didn't take your shahada yet? Or you didn't know Arabic yet? Is that not possible? It's very possible. Let alone the fact, are you in the sheikh's house 24/7? Are you there? Yes or no? You're not 24/7 if you wanted to. No matter how many hours, it's not 24/7. The masjid of the sheikh, where the sheikh teaches at. Are you there every place? No, you're not. Last but not least, I may have studied this book with Sheikh Fulan 5 years ago. And I've graduated from this class. I'm no longer studying this small beginner's metin. I've graduated from this college. I'm in a different college. I'm writing research papers. So is it expected of me to come and sit in a class with this person in the language program, this person on Umrah, this person on Hajj, this person can't speak Arabic, this person has dropped out 3, 4, 5 times, this person had to get a scholar to get him a letter to get him put back in school and study ABCs with him? Will someone who's graduated from Harvard study hooked on phonics? That's the mentality of these people. And of their sheikhs as well. And we have to get out of that as well. Stop blaming it on the students of knowledge and the da'is. They put a question, these evil callers, these evil du'at. If the scholars only knew, where are they getting it from? You can't keep blaming a child for his behavior. The child is a child. He's simplistic, mentally, small, physically. The adult, the parent, or the uncle, someone is what? Teaching them how to behave in a systematic manner. A mistake, an isolated situation? Nah, it's the foolish translator. He didn't translate it right. The hasty guy in America. That's not what the sheikh really said. Here and there. But you can't keep saying that what? Over and over again. And the sheikh, he says, these people take from them in America. Take from them in America. They are the ones that you have to take from. So the sheikh knows what they're upon and agrees with it. Or he doesn't know what they're upon and he endorses them. The sweetest of the two is what? It's bitter. Everyone understand this? The sheikh knows that they're ignorant and they're hasty and they're barely studied. They're ashab fitna. He knows this and he endorses them and pushes them. Or make an excuse, which we should. The sheikh doesn't know. It hasn't reached him. He's in his house praying, in the masjid praying, he's reading, teaching. He doesn't know what the people are doing in the UK and what they're doing in New York. He doesn't know. So that means that the sheikh is heedless. He's heedless. He gives someone tazkiyah. He endorses someone, he praises someone, and he doesn't know what they're really upon. Let alone the fact, can you say that 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, 20 years, 25 years, 30 years? Can you say that? Can you keep making that same excuse? And thus making an excuse for a Muslim, let alone a scholar, someone who has a haqq in Islam, a station in Islam. Does that mean that you turn a blind eye and you make yourself totally naive and nonchalant and foolish? Is that what Islam wants from us? I make husnul dhan for you. Does that mean that I've clearly seen you do it? And I say, maybe he, that's not Islam, brothers. That's not the Quran or the Sunnah. Everyone understand this? When the witnesses bear witness to this person made zina, khalas. That's not the same as, are you sure he was making zina? Did you see him on top? Are you sure? Okay, he was in the room by himself. Doesn't mean he made zina with her. Just because his clothes were off and her clothes were off does not mean that he made zina with her. It doesn't mean that he penetrated her. It does not mean that. He touched her, he kissed her, an excuse is made. Husnul dhan for your brother. It wasn't 4 witnesses. That's one thing. That is not the Islamic ruling of 4 witnesses seeing the actual what? Act of zina. Then there is no, perhaps, Islam does not wish for anyone to be a fool. Everyone understand this? So this is something that's very serious and it's very dangerous. And the only reason why I'm giving this amount of time to it is because it's a major issue. And it's not okay for us to just keep acting like it doesn't exist and to keep ignoring it. Or, as many of us do, we conveniently blame it on others. It's the fault of the students. It's the fault of the translator. It's the fault of this. No. This is a systematic thing that has been happening and that is happening to this day. And this system has destroyed countless communities, countless households. It has destroyed countless amount of potential for the true call of Islam and the Sunnah and the way of the Salaf as-Salih to spread. and for Muslims to learn and to benefit and build communities and masjids and homes. So this is not something that I want to meet Allah Azza wa Jal for on Yawm al-Qiyamah, and I didn't say anything. And if you say that you're talking about scholars, or you're disrespecting the scholars, or you're talking about this brother, or you're conceited and you're arrogant, or the way that you sit in the chair, one brother said, after the long video we did with Musa Richardson, the only thing he had to comment was, he says, the way that you sit in your chair proves that you're conceited. Nothing that we said, points, proofs, evidences, wala shay. That means nothing. But because I sit in the chair way, everybody understand this? If that's what you want to say, you want to call it, then so be it. I'd rather stand in front of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala with this sheikh saying something against me, or this brother, or these people, than me having to answer to Allah. For you knowing something, experiencing it, being in it yourself, Allah saved you from it, and then you keep silent and just keep beating around the bush and talking about everything else. As Yahya ibn Sa'id al-Qattan rahimahullah ta'ala said, when he was on his deathbed, they said, Ya Aba Sa'id, he says, aren't you afraid of these righteous men you've spoken about? Aren't you afraid of these ulama, these ubad, these worshippers, these zuhad that you spoke about, called them weak and fabricators and liars? Aren't you scared on your deathbed? Won't you take it back? He said, I'm not taking back anything, nor am I afraid. He said, for this person to be against me on the Yawm al-Qiyamah is more, he says, it's fonder to me than the messenger of Allah being against me on Yawm al-Qiyamah. And if the messenger asks me, you heard this hadith, you knew it wasn't authentic, and you didn't say anything. He says, I'd rather have you deal with me than the messenger of Allah. Everyone understand this? So it's not a joke. There are rules, there are principles with regards to seeking knowledge, with regards to benefiting, with regards to studying. Many of these principles are agreed upon by the ulama. Many of those principles, there's a difference of opinion among the ulama. And there's some principles that have been made up in the 20th century or the 21st century. They just made them up. Made on a petri dish. Petri dish, just make them up. It's a qaida. It's asl. And there's no qaida and there's no asl. And the ulama of Islam for 1300 years, 14 years, they never ever said this or did this or made this rule. Everyone understand this? And then we have the hypocrisy, especially coming from an American background. They say you can't take anything from an unknown translator, or from a Hizbi translator, or from a deviant translator. But on their bookshelves is Ibn Kathir. Who translated Ibn Kathir? Let's see. Who translated it? Let's look at the translation. This is not even Ibn Kathir's book. This is a summarized version. Al-Misbah al-Munir, abridged, volume 5. Who's the translator? Who's the abridger? It says abridged by a group of scholars under the supervision of Sheikh Safiur Rahman al-Mubarak Furi. Who's he? And what's his position against Sheikh Fulan al-Fulani? Who's he? Who translated the book? This one volume is over 500 pages. Do you know who translated it? Sahih Bukhari. What you're going to find on the bookshelf of what? Everybody. Translated by Dr. Muhammad Muhsin Khan. Who's he? Where did he study? Who did he study under? Did he study hadith? Is he a doctor in science? Is he an engineer? And we can go what? Book after book after book after book, let alone the Webster's Dictionary, the Encyclopedia, the Thesaurus, GPS, all of those things that you clearly blindly follow, and if not blindly follow, you take from them, and you don't know who the translator is, let alone the translator is like kafir, mushrik, munafiq, mulhid, atheist, and you benefit from it. But a brother that's been known for 20 years, who's graduated and studied and produced beneficial books, he's against Fulan, he didn't study with Fulan, don't take anything from his translation. And then the amazing thing about it is the sheikh who said those principles, he's now been kicked off the bus. And his name mysteriously vanished and disappeared. His name is gone. You'll never see his name in a forum, in a book, or anything. Go back 2-3 years ago, 4 years ago, his name was brought up all of the time. Sheikh Fulan, Sheikh Fulan, Sheikh Fulan, Sheikh Fulan, Sheikh Fulan. He's refuted him. He said this, he's that. And now they just mysteriously what? Don't mention his name anymore. Everyone understand this? So the one who brought up this made up principle is also now what? A deviant. Afala taqilun. Shall you have any sense? Will you not use your brains a little bit? So that's what I want to say on the subject. And then, like I said, if it wasn't of that importance, that status, that amount of importance, I wouldn't have spoken on it like I've done. And Allah Azza wa Jalla surely knows best. And we spoke on many issues like this before. And it needs much more time and attention. And Allah knows best.